Good morning, everybody. I hope you are well. Well done for keeping up work during lockdown. You are doing very well. It is a change for you. It's a change for us all. Um, we are going to do a lesson today on functional skills maths. This is on weight. This lesson is for both levels, entry level and level one. There will be exercises for each. It will be on the sheet. And I know that Rebecca has done some sheets on word problems, so we're going to build from that on all the things that we've done. And today we're going to look at weight, because weight deals with decimal places. So we've done fractions and the size, and we've done how to order decimals. And now we're going to look at how we work with decimals. And one of the ways that we work with them is when we deal with weights and measures and area and things like that. So today our lesson is going to be on weight. It's units of weights, working with word problems and rules for decimal places. Okay, so what are weights? Well, weight is what we use to measure how heavy an object is. We usually use the metric system to measure weight. We do use the imperial, but we're not going to concentrate on that today because we're going to deal with decimal places in particular in the metric system. So we will deal with that another time. The unit of measurement for weights is milligrams, grams, and kilograms. We are going to look at grams and kilograms today. These units all use tens and hundreds. This makes the numbers easier to work with because odd numbers like 7 and 5 and 9, they're quite difficult to work with. Even numbers like 2, 4, 6, 8, they're all very easy to work with because they're even. And zeros are even better to work with because we can kind of move them around. Weights use decimal places. How many units? When you deal with the metric system, you use tens, hundreds, and thousands. This means we can move between the numbers easily. So we can move between 10, 100, and 1,000. You have to remember the units for each measure. So you can do that in revision, but we're just going to deal with one aspect of measurement here. 1 ton. Please note this is a metric ton, yeah? Not the other ton, okay? So we call it a metric ton. So 1 ton equals 1,000 kilograms. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. And 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. So as you can see, the number that is being used all the time here is 1,000. Now, grams and kilograms will be used mostly for all of the things that we use every day for food, crisps, biscuits, flour, bread, anything that we buy from the supermarket. Okay, so we're going to look at an example now. Now, we're going to look at quite a simple example, but a simple example provides you with the basis to go back with what am I doing in the question that I'm being asked. So we're going to look at some weights. So here are some weights of apples. So 1 apple equals 100 grams. So this apple here is 100 grams. So 100 grams equals 1 apple. And here we have a bag of apples. And we know that it's 1 kilogram. And 1 kilogram equals 1 bag of apples. How many apples are in the bag? Well, let's have a look. Let's look at the numbers. In maths, always when you're stuck or you're unsure or you approach a problem, look at the numbers. The numbers are there and write them down. So 100 grams equals 1 apple. And 1 kilogram equals 1 bag of apples. And we want to know how many apples are in that bag. So this is the same as saying, how many hundreds are there in 1,000? Because each apple in the bag is 100 grams. Decimal places. To find the number of apples, we have to multiply and divide. Now, I'm going to introduce basic algebra here because I think it's something that you should be brave and do, and it will help you with all of your problems. You can add it to the method. Write out what the sum would look like. The sum would look like this: 1 apple times something, we don't know what that something is, equals 1 bag of apples. That's just basic algebra. And that, if you can write out the sum like that for whatever problem, whatever it is, you start to see what it is you're being asked to do. So you know that this one with a question mark is the one that you don't know. And you're one step closer to going, well, actually, how do I work that out? So let's go back to the sum. 1 apple times something equals 1 bag of apples. So let's put the numbers in. Well, 1 apple is 100 grams. So the sum now looks like this. 100 times something equals 1 kilogram. So we now have our sum and we can see all the numbers. We can see the 100 and we can see the 1 kilogram. But what do we do now? Well, there is a slight problem because this is kilograms and this is grams. They're not the same. They measure things in different ways, right? So we apply the rules of maths, make everything the same. Good, you're doing well. Let's carry on. So we have grams and kilograms. So we have to make them either all grams or all kilograms. Now, just before I go on to this next bit, I want to say you're going to be asked to do this sometimes. And it can be a little bit tricky, but the advice is don't make them decimals if you haven't got a calculator, because it's going to be hard. You make them into the easiest number to deal with. But there's also another rule as well, if you like, or it's advice, not rule. In this instance, it's easier to work with grams because the grams in the question tells us the amount of apples. There can be both of those things. But if for a non-calculator paper, it's often better to deal with things in zeros, the smaller one. But you'll gain confidence as you go on. But we know in this one that grams is what we're being asked to. So we're going to convert everything into grams. Okay, let's get back to the question. So we're going to times by 1,000. So the rule for timesing by 10, 100 and 1,000 is add as many zeros as you are multiplying by. Okay, so we're going to add how many zeros? 1, 2, 3. So let's go on to the next slide. So 1 kilogram, so we got the 1. We're timesing it by 1,000. So we got 1, 2, 3 zeros. So we now have 1 kilogram in grams, which is 1,000 grams. Did you do that? Good. Well done. We've been going at quite a pace, and that's good. Yeah, means you're confident. So we know that 1 apple is 100 grams. And we want to know how many 100 grams there are in 1,000. Well, that is 10, because 1,000 divided by 100, we take the zeros off, 1, 2, and we're left with 10. So going back to our sum, 100 times what equals 1 bag of apples? 100 times 10 equals 1 bag of apples. Check. 100 grams times 10 equals 1,000. So we're applying the multiplying rule. So we've got 100, we're multiplying by 10. We add an extra 0, so that makes it 1, 2, 3 zeros, which equals 1,000 grams. There are 10 apples in a 1 kilogram bag. Whew, I don't know about you, but I'm quite tired after doing all of that. I hope you're keeping up. I'm sure you are. Don't worry if you're not. Stop and go back. Always stop and go back and check. Don't be frightened of doing that. It's important because you will get it. You will definitely get it. Trust me. Right. Take a breather. Right. Let's think about the decimal places. Because these zeros really are what we're doing is we're moving decimal places, right? Okay, good. So decimal places moving. So decimal places move to the left and to the right. As we move left, each move is 10 times bigger. As we move right, each move is 10 times smaller. Let's look at our answer. 1 bag of apples is 1,000 grams, or 1 kilogram. To make the grams into kilograms, we've moved 3 spaces to the left because kilograms is larger. To make kilograms to grams, we move 3 spaces to the right because grams are smaller than, kilograms. Grams are smaller than kilograms. So the zeros are showing you how many spaces the decimal place is moving each time. Right, good. So what I hope you've learned today is how to use the multiplying by 10 and hundreds and thousands rule using the zeros rule. I would really want you to be brave and write out the sum. And I want you to think about decimal places moving to the left and to the right, and that for each unit, they're going up by 10. So well done. You're going to have some exercises. I'm just going to go through what you need to do next. So work through the questions on weights. They'll be on the sheet. Remember, make everything the same. Multiply using the zeros rule. The same applies for divide. Move the decimal place to the left or right. We're going to do more on this, but it's just to get it into your mind about what we're doing. Check your answer by writing out the sum. So I would write the sum out before you get to that point, but as you get more confident, that is one way you can check your answer, is by writing out the sum. Well done, Team Maths. I really hope that you're doing well. And if I've made a mistake, because this is on film and I'm not an actress for EastEnders, so if I've made a mistake, there is a virtual Mars bar or equivalent chocolate delight that you might like to be claimed. As I say, it will have to be virtual, but it is hard doing it on film. Okay, I hope you are all well, and we are all thinking about you, and you have done incredibly well to keep up during this lockdown. Enjoy doing the maths and keep going. I will see you soon.